Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Introduction. Two Fathers, Two Philosophies. Robert Kiyosaki opens this groundbreaking personal finance book by introducing us to the two influential father figures in his life. His biological father, whom he calls Poor Dad, was highly educated with a PhD, worked as the head of education for Hawaii, yet struggled financially throughout his life. His best friend's father, Rich Dad, never finished 8th grade, but became one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii through entrepreneurship and investing. These two men represented completely opposite approaches to money, work, and wealth. Poor Dad believed in getting a good education, finding a secure job, working hard, and saving money. Rich Dad believed in financial education, building businesses, investing in assets, and making money work for you. This contrast became the foundation for Kiyosaki's financial education and the central thesis of this book, that what we're taught about money in school and at home often keeps us financially trapped. The book challenges conventional wisdom about money and presents a radical alternative philosophy. Rather than following the traditional path of school, job, and retirement savings, Kiyosaki advocates for financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and strategic investing as the true path to wealth and financial freedom. Chapter 1. The Rich Don't Work for Money. This chapter establishes the fundamental difference between how the rich and the poor think about money and work. Kiyosaki shares his first lesson from Rich Dad, learned when he was just 9 years old. He and his friend Mike asked Rich Dad to teach them how to make money. And Rich Dad agreed, but with an unconventional teaching method. Rich Dad hired the boys to work in one of his convenience stores for 10 cents an hour. After several weeks of tedious work, young Robert became frustrated and angry about the low pay. This was exactly what Rich Dad wanted. He explained that this emotional reaction is what traps most people in a cycle he calls the rat race. People work for money, get their paycheck, feel a brief moment of joy, then fear and desire drive them back to work. Fear of not having enough money and desire for what money can buy create a pattern where emotions, not rational thinking, control their financial decisions. Rich Dad teaches that the poor and middle class work for money, while the rich have money work for them. This doesn't mean the rich don't work hard, but rather that they direct their energy toward building and acquiring income-generating assets rather than simply trading time for money. The lesson is about controlling your emotions around money and learning to think differently about how you earn income. Most people accept their situation because of fear and a lack of financial education. They follow a pattern: wake up, go to work, pay bills, repeat. They might get raises, but their expenses rise to match their income. This is the rat race, and education about money, not just working harder for money, is the way out. Chapter 2. Why teach financial literacy? Kiyosaki argues that financial literacy is the foundation of wealth building, yet it's rarely taught in schools or at home. Most people struggle financially not because they don't earn enough money, but because they don't understand how money works. They confuse assets with liabilities and make poor financial choices as a result. The chapter centers on one of the book's most important concepts: the difference between assets and liabilities. Kiyosaki provides simple definitions that anyone can understand and apply. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. This might seem obvious, but Kiyosaki points out that most people misunderstand this fundamental distinction. The primary example is home ownership. Most people believe their home is their greatest asset. Kiyosaki challenges this assumption by pointing out that a primary residence takes money out of your pocket every month through mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and utilities. Even if the home appreciates in value, it's not putting cash in your pocket monthly. By his definition, a primary residence is a liability, not an asset. Rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets. This misunderstanding keeps people working harder without getting ahead. Their income increases, but so do their expenses, because they buy bigger houses, nicer cars, and accumulate more liabilities. True assets include businesses that don't require your presence to operate, stocks and bonds that pay dividends or interest, income-generating real estate, royalties from intellectual property, and anything else that generates income without requiring your active labor. The wealthy focus on building a column of assets that generate enough income to cover their expenses, achieving what Kiyosaki calls financial independence. Financial literacy means being able to read and understand financial statements. Kiyosaki emphasizes understanding the relationship between your income statement and balance sheet, how money flows between them, and how to direct that flow toward building wealth rather than accumulating liabilities. Chapter 3. Mind your own business. This chapter distinguishes between your profession and your business. Your profession is what you do for income, your job or career. Your business is your asset column, what generates passive income for you. Kiyosaki argues that most people spend their entire lives working on someone else's business and making other people rich. The middle class tends to focus on their income column, seeking raises and promotions, while the rich focus on their asset column. The key message is to keep your day job, but start building your asset column. Don't quit your job to start a business before you're financially prepared, but do begin acquiring income-generating assets. Kiyosaki shares that he worked various jobs early in his career, but his real focus was always on building his asset column. While working for others, he was learning, gaining experience, and using his income to purchase assets. His profession provided income, but his business was building wealth. The chapter provides examples of real assets to consider. Businesses that don't require your presence, stocks and bonds, income-generating real estate, notes and IOUs, royalties from intellectual property like music or patents, and anything else of value that produces income or appreciates and has a ready market. Kiyosaki also warns against accumulating personal liabilities. Once you leave home and start working, your focus should be on acquiring assets, not accumulating possessions. The wealthy understand this principle. They build businesses and invest in assets before buying luxuries. The poor and middle class buy luxuries first, often with debt, which creates liabilities that drain their resources and prevent them from ever building an asset column. Chapter 4. The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. Kiyosaki provides a brief history of taxes to explain how the wealthy use corporations to protect their wealth. Originally, taxes in America and England were temporary measures to fund wars. The idea of a permanent income tax was sold to the masses as a way to punish the rich, but it ultimately became a burden primarily on the middle class. The wealthy understood the power of corporations and used them to protect their assets. A corporation is simply a legal document that creates a legal entity. It's a legal body without a soul. The rich use corporations to earn money, spend what they need to spend pre-tax, and then pay taxes on what's left. Employees earn money, pay taxes, and then spend what's left. This difference is profound. If you earn money personally, you're taxed on that income, then you spend the after-tax dollars. If you earn money through a corporation, you can deduct legitimate business expenses before paying taxes on what remains. The corporation becomes a powerful tool for asset protection and tax efficiency. Financial IQ involves knowledge in four main areas: accounting, which is financial literacy and the ability to read numbers; investing, which is the science of making money; understanding markets, which is the science of supply and demand; and the law, which provides tax advantages and protection. Knowledge of these areas allows the wealthy to build and protect assets more effectively than those who lack this knowledge. Kiyosaki emphasizes that he's not suggesting anything illegal. He's pointing out that the financially intelligent use the legal system to their advantage. The tax laws are written with incentives for business owners and investors because governments want people to create businesses and provide housing. Understanding and using these legal incentives is financial intelligence. Chapter 5. The Rich Invent Money. This chapter focuses on the importance of developing financial intelligence and creativity in identifying opportunities. Kiyosaki argues that wealth is less about how much money you make and more about how much money you keep and how many generations you can maintain that wealth. Financial intelligence involves identifying opportunities that others miss, raising capital creatively, organizing smart people to work for you, and turning ideas into assets. The financially intelligent don't just wait for opportunities to come to them. They create opportunities through knowledge and action. Kiyosaki shares examples from his own real estate investing to illustrate how financial intelligence works. While others saw risk in a down market, he saw opportunity. He found properties that others overlooked, structured creative, deals with little money down, and created value through knowledge rather than capital. The key was seeing what others didn't see and having the financial knowledge to act on it. Two types of investors exist: those who buy packaged investments, like mutual funds, and those who create investments by developing their financial intelligence. The first type relies on others to manage their money. The second type actively seeks opportunities, conducts due diligence, and creates value through knowledge and action. The chapter emphasizes that financial intelligence increases your options. With greater financial knowledge, you can see more opportunities, take calculated risks, and create wealth in ways that others can't imagine. The rich don't just work harder, they work smarter by developing their financial IQ and using it to create and seize opportunities. Chapter 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. Kiyosaki challenges the conventional career advice to specialize. Instead, he advocates for learning broadly, especially when you're young. The goal isn't to climb the corporate ladder within one company or industry, but to gain diverse skills that will serve you in building wealth. He shares his own career path as an example. After graduating from college, he joined the Marine Corps to learn leadership and to overcome his fear. After Vietnam, he went to work for Xerox to learn sales, which terrified him because he was shy. Once he became successful in sales, he left to start his own businesses. Each job was chosen for the skills he would learn, not the immediate paycheck. Rich Dad emphasized learning skills in different areas of business: sales, marketing, systems, management, production, and finance. These skills are more valuable than specialized technical knowledge when building wealth. The mistake most people make is becoming specialists in their field while remaining ignorant of other crucial business skills. Many highly educated professionals, like doctors and attorneys, struggle financially despite high incomes because they specialize in their profession but remain financially illiterate. They know their technical field but little about business systems, investing, or management. This knowledge gap keeps them trapped in the rat race despite high earnings. The chapter also addresses the importance of learning to sell and market. Kiyosaki believes these are the most important skills for financial success, yet they're the skills most people avoid developing because of fear of rejection. Sales skills aren't just about selling products, they're about communicating value, building relationships, and persuading others, all essential skills for business success. The main lesson is to seek work for what you'll learn, not just what you'll earn. Before specializing, gain broad knowledge of business systems. Learn about finance, sales, marketing, management, and production. This broad base of knowledge will serve you far better in building wealth than deep specialization in a narrow technical field. Overcoming obstacles. Kiyosaki identifies 5 main obstacles that prevent financially literate people from developing abundant asset columns: fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. Fear is the greatest obstacle. The fear of losing money is real and affects everyone, including the rich. The difference is how people handle that fear. Most people deal with fear by playing it safe, avoiding risk, and missing opportunities. The wealthy acknowledge fear, but don't let it control their decisions. They understand that losses are part of the learning process, and that avoiding losses means avoiding gains. Cynicism manifests as doubt and skepticism that prevent action. Cynics focus on why something won't work, rather than figuring out how to make it work. They listen to their own self-doubt, or the doubts of others, and use these doubts as excuses for inaction. The financially successful balance skepticism with optimism and take action despite doubts. Laziness might seem counterintuitive as an obstacle to wealth, since most people work hard. However, Kiyosaki points to a different kind of laziness: staying busy to avoid dealing with important matters. People work long hours and stay busy with life's demands as an excuse to avoid facing their financial situation and taking action to improve it. Bad habits, particularly the habit of paying yourself last, keep people poor. Most people pay everyone else first: the government through taxes, creditors through debt payments, and bills. Whatever's left, if anything, they keep. The wealthy pay themselves first by investing in assets before paying bills, creating pressure that forces them to find creative ways to pay obligations while continuing to build wealth. Arrogance is ego plus ignorance. It's assuming you know everything, or that what you don't know doesn't matter. Many people use arrogance to hide their ignorance. Rather than admit they don't understand something and learn, they dismiss it or pretend it's not important. The financially intelligent are humble enough to acknowledge what they don't know and eager to learn. Getting started. 10 steps. Kiyosaki provides practical steps for those ready to begin their journey to financial independence. First, find a reason greater than reality, a purpose or combination of wants and don't wants that fuel your motivation. Without strong reasons, the daily challenges and setbacks will overwhelm you. Deep emotional reasons, both what you want to move toward and what you want to move away from, provide the drive needed to persist. Second, choose daily to invest in financial education. Every day you choose what you put into your mind. Most people simply adopt the beliefs they were raised with about money. Make conscious choices to read books, attend seminars, listen to audiobooks, and learn from financially successful people. Third, choose your friends carefully. Kiyosaki doesn't suggest abandoning friends who aren't wealthy, but rather seeking friends who are interested in money and building wealth. Learn from both rich friends and poor friends. Rich friends teach you what to do. Poor friends often teach you what not to do. Surround yourself with people who challenge your thinking and encourage your growth. Fourth, master a formula and then learn new ones. In investing and business, there are proven formulas that work. Learn one deeply, apply it until you master it, and then learn additional formulas. The danger is jumping from formula to formula without mastering any, or getting stuck with one formula when markets change. Fifth, pay yourself first. When you receive income, immediately allocate money to investments before paying bills. This creates financial pressure that forces you to seek additional income sources or become more creative with money management. Most people do the opposite. They pay bills first and invest what's left, which is often nothing. Sixth, choose your advisors wisely and compensate them well. Many people take financial advice from people who aren't financially successful. They seek free advice from friends or family members who are broke themselves. Instead, seek advice from those who have achieved what you want to achieve and pay them for their expertise. Real estate agents who invest in real estate, stockbrokers who are rich from stocks, and financial advisors who practice what they preach are worth paying for. Seventh, be an Indian giver in the positive sense of the term. In business and investing, you want your money back quickly and to keep the benefits. When you invest, focus on investments that return your initial capital quickly while continuing to provide returns. This is about return on investment and return of investment. Eighth, use assets to buy luxuries. Most people buy luxuries with their income, or worse, with debt. The wealthy buy luxuries with income from their assets. When you want something, use that desire as motivation to build an asset that will pay for it. This way, you acquire both the asset and the luxury. Ninth, find heroes who inspire you. Whether historical figures, celebrities, or people you know personally, heroes make things look easy and inspire you to greatness. Study what they did, how they think, and apply their lessons to your own life. 10th, teach, and you shall receive. Whatever you want, give it away first. If you want money, help others make money. If you want to learn, teach others. The act of giving creates a cycle of receiving, and teaching reinforces your own knowledge while helping others. Still want more? Additional thoughts. Kiyosaki offers additional tips for those ready to take action. Stop doing what you're doing if it's not working. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results. If your financial strategy isn't producing wealth, change it. Look for new ideas constantly. Visit bookstores and seek books on different approaches to investing, business, and wealth building. Read biographies of successful people. Attend seminars, even if you know much of the material, because one idea could change your life. Find someone who has done what you want to do successfully. Take them to lunch and pick their brain. Most successful people are willing to share their knowledge if you approach them with genuine interest and respect. Ask them how they got started, what they do differently, and what advice they have. Take classes and attend seminars regularly. Kiyosaki shares that he constantly takes courses on investing, business, and personal development. The knowledge gained and the people you meet at these events are invaluable. Even if you only get one good idea from a seminar, it's worth the investment. Make offers on everything you're interested in. In real estate, Kiyosaki often makes offers far below asking price on properties he's interested in. Most are rejected, but occasionally one is accepted, creating an excellent deal. You can't win if you don't play, and you might be surprised by what's accepted. Walk or jog through neighborhoods once a month for 10 minutes to stay aware of what's happening in your area. Notice for sale signs, new developments, and changes in the market. This simple habit keeps you connected to opportunities and market trends. Shop for bargains in all markets. When markets crash, opportunities abound for those with cash and courage. When everyone else is selling in panic, the wealthy are buying at bargain prices. This requires emotional control and a long-term perspective. Look in the right places. Different investments are better at different times. Sometimes stocks are the place to be, sometimes real estate, sometimes precious metals or commodities. The wealthy stay flexible and move their money to wherever the opportunities are best. Think big. Most people think too small. They focus on paying bills rather than building wealth. They aim for comfortable rather than extraordinary. Thinking big doesn't mean being unrealistic. It means not limiting yourself to what seems safe and conventional. Learn from history. All great investors study financial history. They understand market cycles, economic patterns, and historical parallels. Those who ignore history are doomed to repeat its mistakes. Action beats inaction. You can read all the books and attend all the seminars, but without action, nothing changes. Start small if you must, but start. Learn by doing. Make mistakes, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Conclusion. The journey to financial freedom. Kiyosaki concludes by emphasizing that the journey to financial freedom begins with a choice. The choice to learn about money, to question conventional wisdom, and to take control of your financial future. The choice between following poor dad's advice or rich dad's advice is a choice everyone must make. Financial education is not taught in schools, which train people to be employees, not business owners or investors. The school system was designed during the industrial age to produce good employees for factories and corporations. It still follows this model, teaching people to work for money rather than having money work for them. The path to wealth isn't about getting a better job or a higher salary, though those things are fine. It's about building a strong foundation of financial literacy, acquiring assets that generate passive income, and creating a system where money works for you rather than you working for money. This doesn't mean everyone should quit their job and become an entrepreneur or investor. It means understanding money, making informed decisions, and building an asset column regardless of your profession. It means thinking differently about money, work, and wealth than what conventional wisdom teaches. The book challenges readers to expand their financial education, to see opportunities where others see obstacles, and to take action toward building wealth. It's not about get-rich-quick schemes, but about developing financial intelligence, changing your mindset about money, and consistently building assets over time. Kiyosaki reminds us that the choice is ours. We can follow the traditional path of school, job, work hard, save money, and hope there's enough for retirement. Or we can choose the path of financial education, building assets, creating passive income, and achieving financial freedom. The most important asset we have is our mind. Trained well, it can create enormous wealth. Left untrained, it can create a life of financial struggle. The choice of what we feed our mind, what we learn, and how we think about money determines our financial future. Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't just about money. It's about freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time, the freedom from financial stress, and the freedom to pursue your passions without being limited by the need to earn a paycheck. That freedom comes from financial intelligence and the consistent application of sound financial principles. The book ends with encouragement to begin the journey, however small the first steps might be. Financial freedom is possible for anyone willing to learn, willing to challenge conventional wisdom, and willing to take action. The path may be different for each person, but the principles remain the same. Acquire assets, develop financial intelligence, and make money work for you. The legacy of Rich Dad lives on in this book and in everyone who chooses to apply these principles. The question isn't whether you can achieve financial freedom, but whether you will choose to pursue it. Your financial future is in your hands.